It's Drive Time with Holly. Business and consumer news you can trust. I mean, what else are you going to do sitting in traffic?
Yes, welcome to Drive Time with Holly. I am Yaffy.
And I'm Holly.
And today we are going to do something a little bit different since we have a little bit of an abbreviated show. We have Gators basketball coming up. We know that a lot of our audience has some questions about the Better Business Bureau and different aspects of that. And, well, this is a great time to get those questions answered with Holly, who is with the Better Business Bureau.
Right. And before you, before you rush to judgment sitting in your car, first of all, let me say, don't gator chomp and drive. That's dangerous. But
you're ruining everyone's fun.
Before you rush to judgment to say this is a show that sounds super boring, let me say we're covering frequently asked questions about Better Business Bureau. Number one, because it's an abbreviated show. Number two, I am the president and CEO of the Central Florida Better Business Bureau. This is what I've done with my entire career to this point, so I know it pretty well. And quite honestly, we do Drive Time with Holly so that I, as the spokesperson for our local Better Business Bureau, can share good information, good content that supports businesses and consumers and the business community. Ultimately, Central Florida's marketplace is the responsibility we feel of Better Business Bureau. You know, a marketplace where buyers and sellers can trust one another. That's the ultimate vision of Better Business Bureau. And it's good for businesses and it's good for consumers. So we use Drive Time with Holly to be able to cover some topics that consumers may need to hear about, and also some topics that are beneficial to businesses. Tonight, with our abbreviated show, we're going to cover some frequently asked questions that at Better Business Bureau we hear a lot, whether it be on the phone, whether it be standing in the checkout line, someone spots my embroidered shirt and they start asking questions, or they see us at a trade show and maybe they have misconceptions. We want to clear that up. We have the form to be able to do that, so we're going to cover a few questions tonight, and hopefully before you go into the game tonight, you've walked away with a little bit better understanding of who your local Better Business Bureau is, easy to say, and how you can better use them, what the resources are, and maybe if you are in Seminole County and you're driving by and you see our office every day, hopefully we can shed a little light about what's happening inside that building.
Well, I know I've driven by that office many times, and I've always had questions myself. I've seen the accreditation, I've seen the logo,
right?
But there's a lot that I didn't know before working with you,
right?
And it's great to get those questions answered.
And people love talking about their business. I love talking about Better Business Bureau. It's a passion. Like I said, right out of college, this is what I started doing, marketing and communications. And then through the years, 16 years later, now I'm the CEO. So 17 years later, gosh, I lose track. But so it's what I'm passionate about. Business and consumers, that's why Drive Time with Holly makes sense. So let's get right into one of the things Better Business Bureau is known for, whether it is what it is, are complaints. How do you file a complaint? You can go to bbb.org. And the information is right there. It's something that we're very familiar with. Certainly an arena that Better Business Bureau has perfected pretty well. You file a complaint online. You can also mail a complaint in. We want to make sure that with that complaint, you provide supporting documentation if it's necessary, and you provide all the details that you think we may need or the business may need to be able to process properly your complaint. So when you file a complaint, you want to start off and make sure that you've provided as much information as possible.
You know, it seems like a really good resource, actually, as I'm thinking about it, because, people can always go online and you can hear all kinds of complaints, but they're not vetted. Right. You don't really know who's saying it or where it's coming from.
Right.
But with this, if you really want to know how a business is doing, what complaints they're really getting, the Better Business Bureau is the resource to do it. So they'll vet it and they'll make sure it's done right.
Well, and the interesting thing is, consumers have a million avenues these days to have their voice heard. There's social media, there are online chat boards, There are different review sites. When you come to Better Business Bureau, whether it be for a complaint or a customer review, and we'll get into that hopefully, you cannot do it anonymously. So you see on different review sites, or you may see on social media, people oftentimes will levy some pretty heavy allegations or complaints against a business or a brand, and they can do it anonymously. You cannot do that with Better Business Bureau.
Yeah, and for all we know, it's a competitor just trying to ruin someone else's business when it's done anonymously like that. With the Better Business Bureau, if you want real resources, real good, verifiable resources about a business, that's the place to go.
Certainly, we have become known as a place where you go to file complaints and have your complaint processed. That is a resource both for consumers, but also for businesses, because as a business owner, everyone listening knows if you've run a business or if you've managed a business, you know that complaints are the cost of doing business. We in no way at Better Business Bureau believe or preach that businesses with complaints are poorly run or businesses with complaints are bad businesses. That's not the case. Oftentimes, getting a complaint is the cost of doing business. We all know that there are people out there who cannot be made happy. We have those people in our family.
Yep.
You have those callers on your show.
Everyone who is listening right now is nodding their head up and down.
Some people cannot be made happy. And then there are some people who maybe you're not completely happy, but you're just not a complainer. We're there for everyone and the in-between. But let's say you sign a contract to have a swimming pool put in your backyard and you pay the deposit, it's a sizable chunk of change.
Yeah.
And the pool is never built. The pool is never installed, or what the job that you pay for is not the job that you get. People have the money to spend it once, and we want to make sure that consumers have an avenue to have an impartial third party process their complaint so that their voice can be heard. On the flip side of that, for a business, we want to make sure that we can step in as an impartial third party so that if you've not been able to resolve the situation, because we always encourage consumers, contact the business first. We should not be the first people to hear about your complaint. The business should be the first point of contact. Give them the opportunity to respond. Give them the opportunity to make you happy. But if that doesn't work out, contact Better Business Bureau. We will hopefully help alleviate some of the tension, some of the angst in the situation, and let both parties be heard, and then hopefully come to a resolution.
Wow, it seems like you should. The world needs more of that, to be honest, as I'm thinking that. Both parties being heard and coming to a resolution.
Well, and when I say coming to a resolution, for businesses listening, please understand that doesn't always mean the consumer gets their way. Sometimes a consumer complains and the business has every right to stand behind their initial response, which may be, we're standing behind our warranty, or we feel we lived up to the contract and here's the evidence to prove that. We don't want to be used as a tool against businesses, and we're very aware of that. But we feel like being the third party impartial resource in the community helps provide for a healthier marketplace and gets us closer to the vision of BBB, which is a marketplace where buyers and sellers can trust one another. It's something we're really passionate about and a resource we offer for free to the consuming public.
Sounds like a good message to me. We're going to talk more about this, answer some more frequently asked questions. Coming up next, you're listening to Drive Time with Holly. I'm Yaffe.
And I'm Holly.
And we will be right back.
Let's be better consumers. You're listening to Drive Time with Holly.
Yes, this is Drive Time with Holly. I'm Yaffe.
And I'm Holly.
And we are helping you be a better consumer. And one way you can be a better consumer is use your local Better Business Bureau, which Holly, of course, is helping you out with that today.
Yeah, that's right. The services that Better Business Bureau offers to the public are free. When it comes to the complaint process, we don't charge anyone, not the business nor the consumer, to process that complaint. We offer all of our services for free to the public. The only time money comes into play would be accreditation, and accreditation is only offered to those businesses who meet our standards and who maintain our standards. So if you see a business who is accredited and has been accredited for 15 years, 30 years, that does not mean they paid their money or they pay their money every year and they get to keep it necessarily. Every year, I have real live people in our office here in Central Florida in Longwood who review, who vet that business every year before that business has the opportunity to renew. Because it's not for us only about the dues money or only about the money. It's about, are you continuing to meet our standards? Yes. The dues, the money that businesses bring in, that's how we provide staff. That's how we keep the lights on. That's how we, continue to offer our services for free. It takes staff to process complaints. It takes staff to process customer reviews and scam tracker reports, which, hopefully we'll get to. We don't automatically process anything. We have staff who look at the documents coming in, who look at the complaints coming in, because we take so seriously the data we put out and the information that we provide to the public. We want to make sure that we've had hands on it, and it takes money to do that.
And if you want to find out more information on this, if you're listening right now, we don't get to all of your questions. You can always find us on social media or online. Isn't that right?
That's right. So you can go to bbb.org. So bbb.org to file a complaint, to find your local Better Business Bureau, to look up a report on a business profile. And then you can visit drivetimewithholly.com for our social media. You'll also find links to BBB there. But each week we put the podcast of our show there on social media so that you can listen to previous shows. And also we put up supporting information, supporting documentation for almost every show, because there's always something that people may want to go back to, a link they may want to check out, information they may want to read more about. So that's where we put it, drivetimholly.com.
Yeah, there's no doubt that this show is all about giving you the best information so you can be an informed consumer or an informed business person. And that's a great way to do it. I always tell people how much, and I tell you how much I learn every week from this show.
Yeah, and because this is a bit of an abbreviated show, we wanted to be able to offer some good content. And we know these questions are popular because we get them all the time. Yeah. So let's get into customer reviews. There are review sites all over the web who allow consumers to let their voice be heard, sometimes anonymously, sometimes, they're really strongly worded accusations.
That's an understatement, but yes.
Right. Better Business Bureau wanted to make sure that before we got into the space of customer reviews, that we figured out how are we going to do it our way. We knew we didn't want anonymous reviews. And we needed to come up with a process. So when we came to market with BBB customer reviews, the customer review process it gives consumers the ability to be heard, both leaving a positive or a negative review. The way it's different from the complaint process, obviously, if you've had a positive experience, you can be heard. You can let the business know how happy you were with their service or their product. And other consumers can also read about your experience. On the flip side of that, if you've had a negative experience and you don't necessarily want to pursue the complaint process, maybe there's really no desired outcome. You just want your voice to be heard. You want others to know about your experience. The customer review process would be where it's at for you. You cannot do that anonymously. When a consumer submits a customer review, we then, before it sees the light of day online, we then go to the business, we provide the business the customer review, we give them the opportunity to respond to that customer review and or to also say, that's not my customer, I've never heard of this person. So then we go back to the consumer and basically say, you're going to need to provide some supporting documentation, some additional details. If they don't do that, if they never follow up with us, the consumer, that customer review never sees the light of day. If the consumer provides us the documentation that we've asked for, then again, we go back to the business. So now it's time for the business to respond. Before that customer review is published online, the business is given the opportunity to respond so that that customer review goes live with both the consumer's perspective and also the business's response. We want to make sure that this is not used as a weapon against businesses, that it is as fair for consumers as it is for businesses. Ultimately, we want consumers to be able to make informed buying decisions, and we hope that that's what Drivetime with Holly will do. We hope that that's what drivetimewithholly.com and bbb.org, all the information and the resources we put out, we just want people to make better buying decisions. We want them to spend their money. That's good for our economy. It's good for our marketplace. But we want them to spend it with businesses they can trust, because we only have the money to spend it once, right? If you're getting a mortgage, if you're building a pool, if you're hiring someone to clean your home, you don't have the money to pay for one service 3 times. So we want you to choose the right provider the first time. And oftentimes complaints and customer reviews and whether or not they're accredited and what their rating is can help you make that decision.
Yeah, so it's kind of like what you said. I thought it was a great way to put it. You're not against the business. You're not trying to weaponize anything against businesses. You're also not against the consumer. What you are for is a better marketplace.
A healthy marketplace where they can trust one another. Because when a consumer trusts a business, and when the business trusts that the consumer is going to uphold their end of the bargain, because consumers have a responsibility to businesses as well. If you sign a contract, if you pay a deposit, you are saying that it is my responsibility to fulfill my financial obligations to you. It is my responsibility to do what you've asked of me. If you've asked me to give you access to my property so that I can complete the job, the consumer needs to do that. There are responsibilities that consumers have, just like there are responsibilities that businesses have. And we really try to stay right down the middle, because we want them both to work together, because ultimately that's what's best for both involved.
So we have less than 2 minutes here, but was there any other questions that you wanted to answer for people real quick?
So let's hit quickly on Scam Tracker. You can visit drivetimeholly.com and we will, I'll post a link to Scam Tracker. You can also just Google BBB Scam Tracker. It's a really cool way to be able to report scams that maybe you've experienced. Also to look and see what scams maybe people in your community are reporting. There's a map. You can zoom in almost down to street level and see what scams your neighbors are being hit with. If you get a call that seems suspect, you can even go to this BBB Scam Tracker and search by keyword to see if you find a search result that sounds familiar. We hope that it will help people be less susceptible to scams, but also give a voice for consumers so that we can see from kind of a global level what people are falling prey to, so that we as Better Business Bureau know how to better educate our consumers.
I got to tell you, that sounds like something that I'm probably going to look into right after the show.
Yeah, it's really cool.
So it definitely seems really cool. A lot of great information that we've given out for people. Make sure to find us on Facebook as well. Just search Drive Time with Holly or go to drivetimeholly.com. And we got Gators basketball coming up next, but we appreciate you listening to Drive Time with Holly. I'm Yaffe.
And I'm Holly.
And we'll catch you guys next time.